with a link to this. So I'll be back in just one sec. Okay, everyone. I have started recording on this. I'm going to get going, and I will. I'm just telling you. There you go. I'll send a copy of the recording out later. So if you see it, there we go. And if you have any questions, you can text me at 403-630-1243. And it's not 2 minutes after. I will get this going for you guys. So without any further ado, here we go. I got to back up to the original section here. Just give me a sec. Okay, somehow or other I've got a problem with my screen, so I'm going to have to just kind of slide through, hopefully doing some of this stuff. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. And we'll get started. So this is how to stop cold calling and generate sales. And unfortunately, I can't put this in presentation mode because somehow or other my computer's not allowing that to happen. But we'll slide through with a lot of this stuff. As I mentioned, the agenda today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about half an hour just to run through a simple process that I use as well as some of my clients use to help generate sales leads. And you know, it's apart from doing cold calling. And, you know, cold calling is just horrific and not fun to do. So this is something that I thought I'd share with the world. And it came out of an actual webinar that I did a couple of months ago. So first thing we're going to talk about is why cold calling doesn't work. And, you know, one of the main things is, you know, here's a cold hard facts on cold calling. So there's a report by LinkedIn on called the 7 Ways Salespeople Drive Revenue with Social Selling. I would highly recommend, if you don't know what social selling is, to go online and look up social selling and see what it is. LinkedIn's got some tremendous information on it, but it'll help you out as well. Anyways, there is literally, they reference a report by IBM that's only 3% success rate when you're cold calling, and that's actually decreasing at 7% per year. And I mean, that's dismal. In fact, there's even worse. Baylor University recently did a study, and you can look online. You can just look up Baylor University has cold calling gone cold. And what they did was they actually used a bunch of realtors from Keller Williams in the I think it's the southwest region of the U.S. And what they did was they tracked these people. They did 6,264 calls, and literally only 28% of the people actually answered. So I mean, right off the bat, you're discounting almost 72% of people. Some were non-working numbers. Some were also obviously didn't answer. But what they found was that literally with that, like they only got 19 appointments out of that total number. So if you take a look at that, it's like 0.3% on the total or 1% on all the answered calls. That is absolutely dismal. And if you are cold calling, I feel for you because that's the kind of stats that you're up against. I guess the way I look at it is, only a portion of the population wants what you have at any given time. So if we were to take a look at 100% of the people, literally, to find that 1 to 3 or upwards of 3 in 100 who need what you want, and then also convincing them to buy from you when they also go to about 3 or more suppliers. In fact, Google says that people will go to, I believe it's 10 websites before they start engaging with individuals in the buy process. So they're going to multiple suppliers. So the way I look at it is, literally you're wasting 97 to 99% of your time when you're calling. That is horrific when you think about it, that, you got to spend a lot of time just in order to get a meeting. And, in this Baylor example, it's like you got to make 333 calls just to make one appointment. And I don't know about you, but to make 333 calls just to make an appointment would take literally a full day for you guys to just, get that sort of stats and get it working in your favor just to get a meeting. So you're up against multiple, things against you on that. Do not call lists, whole bunch of different things. So, you're wasting your time by cold calling. So, I just want to let you guys know, I've been in your shoes. I'm as old as dirt. I've been around for a long time. I'm in my late 40s. When I first started out, the internet, Al Gore hadn't invented it yet, so we didn't even have that to help out with. And I understand when you're cold calling, there's a fear of rejection, there's a fear of looking stupid, you have that fear of loss, you have the fear of an angry person. That always frustrated me, is someone getting on the phone and getting mad at me. And really, it just drives you down on your lack of confidence and really can grind on you. So look, guys, I've been in your shoes. If you're cold calling, it's extremely tough and absolutely unmotivating. And I'll tell you, just as an example, when I used to have to cold call, I did it in office when there's tons of people around, and just the rejection that you'd feel embarrassed around the people that are with you and everything like that. And you would make every excuse humanly possible. I'm going to go get a coffee. If you smoke it, you're going to go outside and have a cigarette. Oh, maybe I'll just wait here. And long story short, if you allot a couple hours for doing cold calls, you might get 1 or 2 in because you've pushed it off. So, what if I were to show you that there's a better way to generate sales leads and prospects who want what you have to offer and are ready to do business with you right now? That's something that everybody wants and everyone would love. So I'll tell you what. First thing I'm going to show you is kind of this process I have involves online to help you end up with a face-to-face with people. But here's the stats that are out there. Some of these come from Deloitte, and there's somewhere else I reference this in the slide, and there's the information on this. But literally 60% plus of people go online to find out about a product or service. My personal belief is that's actually higher. Nowadays, the stats are probably 2-3 years old. When they go online, 83% of these people need help during this process. Even though Google has this report called the Zero Moment of Truth, where they talk about this sort of stuff, that people hit 10 websites before they start engaging with people. That people still need help when they're actually making a purchase. And 71% of these people expect immediate assistance if they're going to approach you, and you have to have options online for them to engage with you. If you don't, like literally 48% of these people will leave your site without ever coming back to do work with you again. And I'll give you another stat is like literally 70 to 80% of your website traffic that comes to your website leaves without ever coming back again. They found you for a reason, but you're not giving them something or giving them the answers to their questions. So we'll get into some of that stuff in a few minutes here in the presentation here. So, how do you actually leverage this information in your favor? And I say there's 5 steps, right? So knowing that people are going online to find you, they've got questions. If you're not going to give them an answer, then you know what, you're going to lose about 48, 50% of those people right off the bat. So I look at this, and this is a simple little thing that I've done in the past, and I've done it with other companies to help them generate sales leads. It's a proven process. First things first, 5 steps. I've got 6 here. I'll get to the bottom one in a sec here. But first of all, you have to have a website. People are online. They're looking. They're searching. You got to get found, right? So if you work for a company, and you probably already have existing traffic coming to your website, this process will work. If you don't have a website, then I'll talk about this in a couple of minutes, how to set up a website or how to set up some landing pages, which is, a specific page to offer or entice someone to do something. I'll show you how to do that. The other thing you need to do is get email software and have an offer per landing page or an offer per client and stuff. I'll get into that in a couple seconds. The other thing too that works tremendously well is having a live chat widget on your website. And what happens is you build up the foundation. So you built the house. You need to start driving the people there. So you start using advertising and also social media. And last but not least, as I say, it's 5 steps, but there is a 6th one, is always, if you can get someone's name, phone number, or email or anything, make sure that you are always following with them and keeping them going and warm. So let's get into this. So let's start talking about the website or a landing page. So let's just pretend, for example, that you work for a company that has a website and they're getting some traffic. You could leverage that. If you don't and you're a sales rep, you know what? There's no reason why you can't go out and do this yourself and set something up. So I'll give you an example. Here's one that I have, which is an offer for a live chat software program that I put together with a buddy of mine, John Leishman. And what this does is it allows you to drive people to your website. Now I'll show you a process. I'll show you how we tie this process together. But this is the starting foundation, is put people in. The interesting thing on this page is what you'll see is that I have a video here that someone can play when they hit this page, and it'll tell them a little bit about the information that they need to see. Then what happens is I push them through. I'm pushing them, telling them, like, do you want this risk-free for 30 days? Yes, I'll do it. No risk trial. Click here. So it's like, I'm getting people to take a look and try this trial out. Then on top of it, I've got a great headline, and then I've got live chat on the side here. So if someone actually has any questions, they can start typing in there. So I'm using multiple things on this one page just to drive my success. Now, if you don't have a website, then my suggestion would be that you look at potentially these 3 resources. And I'll send a resource guide out after the fact on this. If you wanted, if you didn't register for the webinar, you came through one of my other email newsletters, just send me an email at chris@salestipaday.com, and I'll send you guys the link to this video and also the resource guide as well to send some information to you on this stuff. So anyways, some of the resources you can use for setting up a landing page or a website. One I love is called Lead Pages, and it's leadpages.net is where you find this. And what happens is they basically dumb down how to create landing pages for people. So what you do is you go there, you set up for a subscription. I think it's $200 a year for a subscription, and what happens is you can start setting up landing pages. Now, the nice thing about Lead Pages is they will actually host these landing pages for you. So you don't actually have to go out and get a domain or a website or anything like that. And you can leverage that. And it ties into email marketing, which we'll get to in a second here. Another one is a company called Unbounce. So I love Unbounce too. I think it's a great little company. Really happy they're a Canadian company where I'm Canadian, so got to give my props out to fellow Canadians. Unbounce is also another one where you could leverage their software as well. And they do, I believe they have a free version, and they also have tiered versions for creating landing pages. The nice thing about Unbounce is, Lead Page Lead pages, their pages are kind of static. You can take pieces in and out and stuff. Unbalanced, you can actually add stuff, move it around, put it in places where you want it to be. So it's a great little program. And like I said, they do have a freebie version that I think gets you up to 200 visits, which is great. Last but not least is, if you want to set up your own website and start generating traffic and everything like that, my suggestion is just go to GoDaddy, register a domain, and then set up a hosting account. And you do that through WordPress. I'm a big fan of WordPress and not other content management systems. Long story short, this is just informational in nature. This is not, I'm not here to show you guys how to set up websites, how to do all this stuff. I'm just giving out resources today. So that's the first portion. So we're setting up the first thing, setting up a website or the landing pages. Next thing that you want to do is look at getting an email service, software marketing service, and put an offer together. So, long story short is I use a couple. I use MailChimp and I use Aweber. So those are two guys that I would take a look at as an email marketing system. So what's an email marketing system? You know what? When you go to a website and someone puts an offer up and you give your name and your email, or your name and phone number and email, or variations of that, they're using an email marketing software system. And then what you can do is you can set up a series of emails that go out to individuals with information that you can time out or do whatever. But here's one of the ways that I use it. Is, first of all, set up the email marketing system, create something of value to give away. So I've got this little thing called the 25 must-have sales and marketing tips. And I give that away, and I get numerous subscriptions. That thing's given me thousands of email subscribers over the last 4 or 5 years. And it took me about an hour to pull it together. It's like 7 pages long. You don't have to put a ton of effort into it, but it's one of those things where you just put something together relatively quickly. Or if your company actually has something that's made that you think might be relevant to people, you can leverage that sort of stuff as well as your giveaway. And once again, high level here, I'm just telling you the process. I'm not showing you how to do it. Eventually, I'm building out a course that will show people how to do all this stuff and tie it together. And I'm going to have some online stuff as well with this. So one of the other reasons you want to have an email marketing system in place is you're going to end up with subscribers. And in this case, let's just say you get 1,000 visitors to your website a month, and your email signups are about 3%. That might be a little high, but I'll use 3%. In my site, I get between 6 and 10% of my traffic actually ends up to my email list, which is, for me, I think pretty good. But let's just say 1,000 people in the first month, 3% sign up. That means you get 30 visitors, or you get 30 email signatures. And if you have a 6% uptake, if you send an email out with an offer, so it's an offer for a consulting service or a product or whatever, chances are, let's say you get 6% uptake, which is industry average according to the Email Marketing Association. That means you get two new clients in a month. As you go along, you're adding 30 people a month to your email list. Let's go 18 months out. I didn't go any further than 18 months out because it was getting a little tight and you couldn't see it. But by 18 months out, you've got 540 people on your list, and you're getting approximately 32 sales on a monthly basis. So, this is an additional way that you could leverage this process to make even more sales that you wouldn't have had before. So there. So we've got the resources that I talked about just a couple of minutes ago here, which include Aweber and MailChimp, and both are great services. If I had if I were to use one, I'd sway more towards MailChimp because I find it a little more user friendly. And the other thing that you can do is you can actually add names onto that list. And what do I mean with that is, if I go out and see someone, I'll tell them, hey, I do this. I've got an email that comes out on a regular basis. Can I add you to that list? And they will, if they say yes, then on MailChimp, I can actually put the person's name in, and I've collected that list, and it's ongoing and stuff like that. For those of you who have just joined, just to let you know, I'm going to send a recording out on this as well. my presentation slides aren't working, so I have to do this in just the view that we've got going on the screen here right now. But if you found me via Twitter or one of my other email means or anything like that, and you're not registered on my list, you want me to send you a link for this in the resource guide, just send me an email at chris@salestipaday.com and I'll send it to you. So anyways, back to this is anyone that you meet with, you know what, set up the email marketing system and add them to your list. I mean, the ability to make future sales is really dependent upon getting your information out in front of the right people at the right time. So now we're going to talk about live chat. First thing we talked about was a landing page or a website. Second thing is adding the email marketing to capture names and get some information out. And then on top of it, the third pillar in this one is a live chat widget on your website. So the reason why I say that is because in some circumstances, people don't necessarily want to buy right now, but they want some of the information that you have, and you can nurture them along. Other people are in absolute buy mode, and they need their questions answered. And so that's where you need to be talking to these people. So here's what I'm talking about with live chat on a website. If you look in the right-hand corner here, there's a piece of software that a buddy of mine, John Leishman, and myself put together. That's John Leishman right there. He runs Geeks on the Way. We put this together because we went out and tried about 7 or 8 different live chat applications in the marketplace, and we just couldn't find anything that would work for us. And I'll get to that in a couple of secs when I tell you why, what didn't work for us. But we had to come up with something that would actually work for us, and this is what we did. So it looks very similar to a lot of the live chat. It usually sits down at the bottom here. You can click on it. We actually make this proactive so it'll pop up, and I'll get to that in a couple of seconds here. So I'm going to go back to these stats that I talked about originally. 60% of people go online to find out about products and services when they're going through their buy phase. 83% of these people need help during their investigation. So put yourself in the shoes of someone. You think of something that you're looking for. Like I'm trying to get I want to get my roof repaired, right? And if you're not a roofer, you don't know whether I have to repair the whole thing or a section, or maybe it's not my roof. Maybe there's something wrong in the interior of my house that's causing me to have coldness, whatever it is, right? So 83% of people need help during their investigation online to figure out what the problem is. You know what? 71% expect immediate assistance online, and 48% will leave if you do not help them. So literally, if you're driving a lot of people to your website, and 48% of them leave if you don't offer any mechanism. Live chat is an excellent means to engage with these people and offer it to them. So here's the live chat software that we came up with right here. What you're going to see is one of the problems that we had is if you can set something up so it's proactive and it's reaching out to people, chances are you're going to end up with way more people engaging with you. So what we've done is we set this up so like within 5 to 15 seconds when someone arrives at your website, it pops up and says, hey, is there anything I can help you with, right? Then the next one is about a minute later or whatever time frame you want. It pops up, hey, so you're still here? Is there anything I can help you with? Then you wait 2-3 minutes or whatever, and then it just pops up one last time, and it says, look, you're still here. If you have a question, we're here. Reach out to us. What we found is that, that second and third, especially the third, if someone's been on your website long enough, they're investigating and they're looking around. They're going to have questions. So now you can start engaging with these people. And the whole idea behind it is get enough information so that you can find out their name, their phone number, and their email. Sorry, I want to see what you said. I'm sorry, viewer 3, that you feel that way, but too bad. Anyways, moving on here. The other thing that we got is, take a look around, take a test drive, see what your competitors are doing on their website, and see if they have live chat on their websites. And if they don't, then it shows that there's actually an opportunity that exists out there for you as well. So anyways, we set up the foundation of doing stuff. So you've got a web page, you've got email marketing system in place, and you've got some live chat in place. Now, here's the other thing: is look at the doing some advertising or driving people to your website. And so one of the things that I use Facebook, LinkedIn. Do not use Google AdWords, but I thought I'd throw it up in here. Um, the whole idea is target people, and that's one thing that I do like about Facebook and LinkedIn is that I could target people based on their interests. Um, in LinkedIn, I could target people based on their titles, geographical areas, so on and so forth, which allows me to, um, hopefully drive people through to the website that I have. And I'll go into a couple of stats here in a couple of minutes on that so that you guys can see kind of what I'm spending on those ones. Google AdWords, I'm not a huge fan of Scroogle and their scam words. The reason being is that I see a lot of people put a lot of weight in just using AdWords to try to drive traffic, and if Google shuts you down, then that whole traffic source goes right away. And they actually did that to me, so that's why I'm not a big fan of Google. So, anyways, there we go. Here's the other thing: how to reduce your AdWords costs. So, even though I just kind of slammed AdWords, I am going to give you an idea how leveraging live chat and putting website or putting email marketing on there can help you out. So, first things first, how you reduce your costs. So, Calgary furnace repair I'm based out of Calgary. On average, that's going to be $18 per click just for someone to click on your ad to get through to your website to do what you need them to do. If you're pushing people through at $18 a click, you better do everything stacked in your favor to try to turn or convert those people into a sales lead or engage with them. But let's just say, some of the stuff that I see is going to be a conversion rate of 3%. It means you're spending $600 for a lead. You know what? If you do put live chat on, it does, and you can increase this conversion rate by fivefold, then you're actually spending $120 a lead to drive traffic through and get names and emails. So I mean that's just an offshoot of having live chat sitting on your website. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about social media. So the free way, or just use sweat equity to drive people through to a landing page. And here's what I do. Up at the top here, what you're seeing is I've got a couple of tweets that came out. I just copied these out of Hootsuite, which is a wonderful program if anyone ever wants to put all their social media stuff in one place to manage it and see what's going on. But I push people through saying, hey, you want to get more sales leads? Click this link. Boom, boom, boom. It pushes people through. Then what happens is you hit my registration page here, and you get to claim your spot. So you click here to claim your spot. So these up here, it's free. And I use a tool called Social Oomph. And Social Oomph, it'll be in the resource guide that I send out. Social Oomph will allow you to schedule tweets to go out on a recurring basis. So for example, this tweet, if I want to reschedule it, I can set it up to go out once a day for a certain period of time. Or what I can do is send it out like 2-3 times a day at a certain period of time. What I do, I take 4 or 5 literally 4 or 5 comments that I have here, put them into a recurring, and then push people out to come to the website and get them to sign up that way. So it's a great way to drive traffic to your website. So that's kind of literally what I'm going to talk about on the social media aspect of this thing. Last but not least, follow-up is, I think, extremely important in this process. Reason being is that not everyone's ready to buy at this point in time. You have to nurture them. Going back to some of the stuff that we had up front in the presentation, literally at any given time, about 3% of the population is in buy mode for what you have. And you know what? The other 97% aren't, but at some point in time, they may be. So, best thing is nurture them, get them on your email list, get them going, send out information on a regular basis. So my suggestion for sending information out on a regular basis is put together a monthly email with a little bit of educational information, maybe some special offers on products or services that you have, hold webinars on a regular basis, create some ebooks like I did with that 25 must-have sales and marketing tips. And that way, you've got a reason to put stuff in front of people on a fairly consistent basis. Now, if you're using email marketing, like I say, to do this, my suggestion is get an email out at least once a month. Don't let it go longer than that, because what happens is The problem is that people will forget that they signed up for your list, and they'll unsubscribe. So if you send something to them 6 months later or a year later, your unsubscribe rate is going to go through the roof on this stuff. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this all together and give you an example of how this works. And in this case, I'm going to use Geeks on the Way again. And I know viewer 3, you said that the pop-ups were annoying. And in a sense, sometimes I agree with you as it relates to that sort of stuff because of the fact that it's, it can take away from the user experience. But I'll tell you what, if you're a business, it can actually help you out. So in this case, John, what he did was we put this up on his website. And what he saw was about a 12 to 15% uptake on a monthly basis. So it varies between kind of 12 and 15%. So he gets an additional 12 to 15% of people, engaging and then going for his service. Now, because these people are more engaged, he actually gets more revenue out of it. So that just by adding that live chat widget on his website, he's getting an additional 15 to 20% revenue. Now, in this case, if we take a look and we see that he's got 40 times, he's getting 40 times more. It's more effective than cold calling. If we go back to that Baylor example, where it's 1 in every 333 people that you're going to have to call just to get a meeting, he's getting 40 leads for every 341 connections that he makes. Now, the other added benefit that he has here is he's already had the staff in place so that they can actually engage and engage with website traffic. So there's no additional cost. So he's basically adding 15 to 20% additional revenue to his company just by putting that up on his website. I have another one where there's a roofer in Ottawa, and I'm not going to mention who it is because he doesn't want me to, because he's got a huge competitive advantage. But in this case, for every 3 chats he gets, he generates 2 sales leads. And his uptake on this is insane. It's like 220 times better than cold calling. And so for him, it works, and it works extremely well. So, I also don't want to paint rosy pictures with all this. There are certain cases or examples where this doesn't work. It's not, and also the other thing, not all leads that come through are qualified. Some are bad. I mean, I'll just give you an example. On my website where I've got live chat, it pops up. Some people will ask me, I need to get sales tips. Well, my website's called Sales Tip a Day. And if you look at all the posts that are sitting on there, there's over 2,000 with nothing but sales tips. And if you really want to find something specific, go in the upper right-hand corner and search what you're looking for. And I'm sure I've got some information on it somewhere. So that, I just want to highlight the fact that not all sales leads are qualified when they come in, and you have to handle them appropriately. So I'm just going to go over this process really quickly and how it's worked for me and some of my clients. So first things first, I'm pushing people through with advertising or with social media. So in this case, I'm using a Facebook ad that's in stream on the updates. This one is a LinkedIn ad that pushes people through. And last but not least, I've got some tweets that go out. I do have stuff that I poke up on Google Plus and a bunch of different places to drive people through. When they come to my website, I've got a big, huge option here. This is a lead page from Lead Pages. I've got information here that says, here's what this is. I've got a video that they can click on. I'm pushing people through saying, yes, I want to try this for 30 days. And then last but not least is I've got the live chat on here so that people can engage and ask questions should they need to do that. So just to give you an example, you need to experiment with the advertising side of things. My Facebook ads are costing me about 26 cents per click, and it's targeted to specifically people that want to learn about selling and sales and also marketing. My Facebook ads are costing me $2 plus per click. As I'm tracking these, I'm seeing way more people coming through because of my Facebook ads compared to my LinkedIn ads. But at this point in time, I've only been doing this about a month and a half, and I'm not ready to give up on either, although I am moving more towards Facebook ads than I am for LinkedIn ads. So just experiment, take a look around and stuff like that. So here's what I'm going to offer. At some point in time down the road, I'm going to pull a lot of this together into a course. I'm going to do an actual half-day session in Calgary where I will run people through this process, how to set it up and everything like that. The other thing I'm going to look at doing is doing this online as well. But one of the biggest things that I see is, go and if you can, put live chat on your website. So I'll offer you live chat for 30 days for free, the solution that we have. If you want to take me up on that, you can go to salestipaday.com, live-chat-offer, or send me an email and say, Chris, would like to take you up on your live chat offer, and we'll get you connected and get you on. The reason we offer it for free for 30 days is strictly to see that it will work, or make sure that it works for you as well. And if it doesn't, hey, at least you gave it a shot and you gave it a try. What we see is roughly about 65, 70% of the time it actually does work for companies and helps drive more sales leads for them as well. Anyways, that's it, guys. That's the presentation in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at chris@salestipaday.com. I do appreciate your time. And like I say, if you didn't register for this webinar up front and you found it through another means where you just went to the join.me/Chris Hamilton, reach out to me at chris@salestipaday.com, and I'll send you a link for the video here and also the resource guide as well. And I'd love to hear from people. Feel free to reach out to me, and we'll go from there. So I truly do appreciate your time, and thanks for showing up. I do these every couple of weeks, so if you have registered, you'll hear about it again in the future. If not, then send me an email. We can get you registered, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to give you your day back. Thanks for coming. Greatly appreciate it, and have a wonderful day.